everyone, it's me again, Ashra from Blood Moon Pictures, and welcome back to Snowbound Blood. The episode 3. We have just investigated the crime scene and investigated the deaths of the other two trolls, and now we have hopped onto our motorcycle, apparently, and drive off in order to get more information, gets stuck together, so we know what happened. And as we are right there where we left off last time, so we'll just go right back in. As night continues to fall on the journey home, you find yourself running over the few scraps of information you were able to find. The absence of any fighting, the sabotage of the vehicle, the pinpoint accuracy of the robbery itself. Something doesn't quite make sense here. The execution was just a little too perfect in both senses of the word. If it was just your average cultist job, you'd expect a little less finesse. Most of these fanatics haven't even heard of the word finesse, let alone got enough to carry out a scheme this flawless. Could it have been an inside job? It doesn't seem particularly likely, and yet the intel that leaked had to come from somewhere, someone. But what reason could a culprit have to steal from their own convoy? Could it have been a ruse to shake potential third parties off the trail? Sestra seemed so righteous in his office, despite the theatrics. You've known that boy since he was a wiggler, and something tells you he'd never sign off on something like this. But if not him, then maybe... This isn't getting you anywhere. This case is just getting started. It's no good to seeing threats for no reason. That's never the best move on the table. You need much more information. Beep. Suddenly an alert rings out from your visor, jolting you out of your train of thought. Someone is trying to contact you. This strikes you as unusual for two different reasons. Firstly, the caller information is withheld. Whoever it is has something to hide, almost offering themselves up as a suspect from the outset. Suspicious calls on the way back from the crime scenes don't tend to be inquiries after your health. The second reason is that you haven't had a personal call in ages. You pick up. I'm so glad you were assigned to this case. When your name flashed up on my interface, I knew this was all worth it. I've been following your work, you know. Too many trolls on this planet don't appreciate this really skilled, obsessed with idle celebrities sucking down whatever swill your paymasters feed them. But I respect you. You deliver your idea of good face to face. You should be famous, Cicely. Everyone should know the trail of bodies you've left behind. How do you get this contact? That's a tedious question. You can do better. Fine. What can you tell me about the scene I just left behind? You're trying to scope out how much I know, still just trying to find the bounds of my power. A standard opening. Safe, but you can't play for the draw here. There's simply too much on the line. Your focus on what happened and when won't bring you any closer to understanding. To triumph, you can't just take your orders and march. You've talked yourself in circles, and you call me tedious. Answer the question. 100 trucks cross the remote corners of this disgusting planet every day. 100 containers of your valuables, raw materials, fodder for craft, fruits of the labor of thousands of trolls. Each part contaminated by greed and filth. But only the blood was taken. Why? Do you know of properties? Alexa, stop. Sorry for that. Why? Do you know its properties? I want to help you understand. I really do. You will by the end. I think you'll agree with me too. You've been purging this planet of refuse for so long. You've done nothing to convince me you're not part of it. We're all a part of it, lapdog. I'm going to give you the tools to break your chain. Idolic actress, plus 2, 11, 111, 2 days. Listen close. The car clicks out, nothing but the sound of wind wiping past you and the hum of your motor left to accompany you as the sun fully disappears beyond the horizon and your headlamp shines into the distance. I always do. You make the rest of the journey back to the stronghold without additional excitement. As you approach the outer walls, you get the message from one of your superiors. Looks like they tried to call you while you were talking to whoever that was. 2 in one day. You'd think something was wrong. Oh wait. The message is just a room number and a meeting time. Efficient as always. A few minutes later and you're walking back in through the dimly lit foyer of the corporate headquarters. A short elevator ride finds you striding past mostly empty cubicles, soda coolers and falsified office foliage. The trolls still here are the late-night strivers, eager to prove themselves. Could they be eager to atone, to assuage their own guilt? You make a mental note of everyone around out of habit, but quickly cut that train of thought off before it goes anywhere. No point in being unnecessarily suspicious of people, not at this stage. On the far side of the floor, at the end of a hallway, a tall figure stands waiting. As she sees you coming, she beckons once, and then vanishes into one of the many doors lining both sides of the corridor. You hurry onward, managing to catch the door before it closes and sidle your way in quietly. The corporate building seems to have more conference rooms that they know what to do with. Certainly more than any normal company could use. Then again, normality is a concept that tends to get left behind when you're dealing with the end of the world. It's very dark in here. There's barely any lights to see apart from the faint glow from your overhead visor and the occasional flash of lightning outside. You'd consider trying to find a light switch, but then perhaps that would ruin the effect. The tall, shadowy figure that was in the room when you entered steps into a shaft of light, and you can make her out clearly for the first time. Recall Hamifi Hekrix. Hamifi Hekrix may be more of a no-nonsense corporate cutthroat than her knitwear-loving matesprit, but she has the same underlying instinct for dramatic flair bordering on the comical. They were almost made for each other. You have to remind yourself that this is, in fact, very literally true. But between her skulking in the shadows and him looking forlornly out of the windows every few moments, it's a wonder these kids get any work done. Now the effective second-in-command of the corporate machine is standing in front of you with an expectant look on her face. She's holding her signature clipboard, the weapon of choice for a ruthless itinerarian. Get right to it. She doesn't bother you saying anything. She just clicks at the end of her pen once, somehow managing to make it sound like a question. You both know she's here for your report on the burglary, so you get right into it. Your eyes drift shut as you begin to recount the afternoon's findings. Something about the darkness makes it easier, like you're giving the information an emptiness to fill up. Your mouth moves of its own accord, recalling everything in discrete, itemized chunks. All of the while, the faint scratching of a pen and paper accompanies your law murmur. It's an odd kind of music the two of you make together sometimes, a routine that's familiar despite the business atmosphere. Eventually it dies down. Your story comes to an end, and you open your eyes again. Hamifia has stopped writing. She's looking down at her clipboard deep in thought, brow slightly furrowed. After a few moments of silence, though, she looks at you again and speaks for the first time. In your opinion, what sort of people are we dealing with here? Her voice is proper, professional, poised. I'm not sure. There are several reasonable possibilities, with varying degrees of mutual exclusivity. The only certain is that whoever they have some kind of connection with corporate. The amount of information they must have had access to speaks to that. Wait, what? The amount of information they must have had access to speaks to that. I don't know, something's wrong with that sentence in my mind. I can't say if it's anything as serious as a mammal within the organization or just a matter of bad bookkeeping. Her eyes narrow at that suggestion. But either way, there's clearly some avenue through which these people were able to exploit internal information for their own ends. The haste was far too clean, too perfect. It was almost impressive. Hamifia is frowning openly now and cuts your hypothesizing short with an upraised hand. This robbery was far from a watertight operation, Monsieur Pora. And you of all people should understand why. There was one key detail which demonstrates it. The bodies at the scene. The murder of our employees. That was a mess. That was uncalled for. An unforgivable waste of troll resources. The theft itself was so perfect that the deaths were clearly unnecessary. Anyone with that complete a picture of the situation should have managed to avoid bloodshed altogether. You made it sound as though you almost respected these people, but this isn't a game that you're playing. No comment. These criminals aren't an opponent to be challenged. They are a scourge to be cleansed. Their blood on the snow, just like the mess that they left behind. That's 3 more empty jobs I have to fill somehow. That's more temp work that needs to be done. That's something else sucking us dry while we try and fix this entire planet. Another vital asset plucked from our grasp as I work tirelessly, endlessly against the clock. Time is not on our side. This crime is a mockery pointed straight at corporate itself. Though her voice has barely changed in volume this whole time, to you it sounds like Hamifi has begun shouting by this point. Her words are ice cold and dripping with anger, snowbound blood. You don't know how to respond to this, and so you elect not to say anything altogether. Your sweeps, of experience tell you that in situations like these, the best move is not to make one. You're in Zugzwang. Oh, in Zugzwang. Hamifi breathes in and out pertinently for a few moments, before seeming to collect herself once more as her face inches imperceptibly back to an expression of complete calm. Sestru may take a more lax approach of deploying corporate assets, but I'm never one to let a good thing go to waste. Just remember, Missy Lepora, you are as much an investment as any of our other initiatives, and safeguarding investments is where I come in. Oh, sorry for the burp. This investigation may run darker and more foul than you realize. Don't trust anyone. Well, this is new. She seems cautious, almost like she's nervous about something. She gives you a very direct look with this last warning, and you can tell that she knows about your little bit of fan mail. The fact that someone else was contacting you is so soon after leaving the crime scene is enough to make her suspicious. Perhaps rightfully so. But all the same, it strikes you as more than a little wigglerish. Don't worry, Miss Heckrix. I'm not about to get into the habit of it for now. But any potential pockets of useful uncertainty should be examined and exploited before being discarded. You of all people should be able to appreciate that I didn't get so far in my career without being open to every possibility. I highly doubt there will be any kind of confrontation. This person seems too content to hide in the shadows, and even there is just you, remember. My winning streak has been going since before you and your betrothed were hatched. It's not going to end at the hands of some anonymous prankster. See to it that it doesn't. You're no use to us otherwise. And with that, your superior clicks the end of her pen in a way that lets you know that this meeting is over, as quickly and abruptly as it began. She glides over to the door and leaves without sparing you a second glance. You don't hang around either, but by this time you're back out in the corridor, she's already vanished. Your head is full. Something isn't adding up here, and the call you got is the biggest variable. You need some space and time. You walk past the rows of cubicles, aware of anxious eyes on you. Sestru is often nervous, fretting, obsessing about one threat or another. He crams so much history into his head that you think maybe he just starts reliving it sometimes. seeing portents of a second renaissance around every corner. It's understandable, though. He's the mask, the public face, the direction everyone's facing while Hamifi does all the dirty work. And the problem with being the mask is you have to look back at them. But seeing Hamifi paranoid, that's rare. And now that you have time to think about it, it strikes you as unsettling. You've watched the two of them go through a lot of moods over the sweeps, settling into their roles and assuming authority. Hamifi took to it more comfortably than her mates did, or at least appeared to. You wonder what she knows that you don't. What would lead to her unusual show of concern, filtered as it is through a desire to protect the company? The open-ended possibilities start to close in on you. You get a constriction in your chest from being surrounded by those you've been told not to trust. You're getting caught up in speculation. Before you know it, you're back in the elevator, soft music blurring at a mindless din in your ears. You breathe a sigh of relief when the doors shut without anyone else coming in. You don't have an idle conversation in you right now. A very long time ago you learned a number of exercises to deal with overwhelming feelings from a good friend. Call it an old therapy takeaway. As the elevator takes you up, 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 you make a repetitive little motion with your hands, a ritual of calm. 4 fingers on your left hand and tap your right palm twice. Then you switch, fingers on your right hand tapping the left palm. Tap, 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 tap. It helps you center yourself and focus as you exit the elevator on the top floor and take a single flight of stairs to the roof. The cool air is a deliverance. You walk to the edge of the building and look out on Stronghold 21. Pastel neon lights suffuse the streets. The bass of faraway music of the Stronghold's nightlife thums distantly. Colorful advertisements flicker in on LED screens. This week's Skyrim release, a new brand of sugary fizz, the 103rd season of Who Wants to Be a Hyperlooper. Skyrim, really? That show hasn't been the same since a young man, lost on it and destroyed the original set before spiraling into a full-blown cult leadership. But that's a story for another time. It's easy to look inside these walls and see what the revelers on the street see. A society without scarcity, of productivity and prosperity. But every bright light casts a shadow. You think of bodies face down in the snow, bondmates getting an impersonal phone call that will break them, a deep breathing voice taunting you over a voice link. You think of 1,000 reasons someone will turn against this world. You think of more why someone outside of it would steal, kill, break, just to tear it down. The breeze gives you a chill. Lines of probability start to firm up in your mind. This world is balanced on a precipice, and somewhere out there a conspiracy has emerged to steal a piece of its history, one that may push it over the edge. Woo! It's up to you. Time to make a plan. The end! Oh! Oh! So this is the end of part 1, ladies and gentlemen. The end of part 1 of Snowbound Blood. I didn't know I would approach the end so fast. Anyway, this seems interesting. There are a few things that are a bit too much out of canon to me personally, but I still enjoy it. Anyway, I hope that you guys give some appreciation for the makers of this. One of the people who worked on Hive Swap Friendsim on the music is working on the 3rd part of Snowbound Blood as well right now as we speak, and he wrote some character music for that. So I'm gonna check out if part 2 is available already, if I can find it. If you can find it before I do, please put it in the comment section so I can find it easier. Whatever. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, then please leave a like and check out the links in the description below. As always, I sincerely love all of you guys, and we will see each other in the next video and or stream. Cheerio!